Okay, first thing, we need to take off the plastic covers, the aluminium protection to get access to the exhaust system. And after I will remove exhaust system, I can remove the rear heat protection and get access to the cardan or propeller shaft. And when I will remove it, I can release support for transmission, lower it a little bit, and I can get an access to the transmission bolts to remove transmission, and then I can make maintenance of the transmission. I need to remove transmission. It's behind this plastic protection, so there is some shifting problems with transmission, also some noise from flywheel, and the flywheel is already bought. But about transmission at this moment, I don't know what I will need. So I will remove it, I will open it, and then I will know what exactly I need to buy beside the maintenance kit. In maintenance kit will be included filter and oil and high pressure filter. So it is the minimum I will do. I will remove the Mechatronics, I will wash everything, I will remove high pressure filter, and we will see is there some dirt inside or not, and then we will know an answer why it has some rough shifting problems. So okay, let's start to work. The engine is still looking good. There's a little bit oil on the oil filter body, but I already ordered it because this is not original one. Everything else is dry. Now almost all holders are removed, so it remains only in the middle, and I can start to remove off this exhaust system. It's better for you that you call a friend or coworker that will help you to remove the exhaust system, because it's very long and it's pretty heavy, so you will need some assistance to put it down, because if you will do it only alone, it will be hard, or you will need like two of this type of supports, or one on the behind, one in the front, or something like that, because if you will release the front first, you will lower it, it can break your rear bumper, and if you will release first the rear part, you will start to bend your catalytic converters, and in the front it's sitting pretty tight, so it will be hard to remove it, and in the one moment it can just drop down. So it's better to use two supports, or just call some coworker friend or something like that as example. Now I'm waiting, my friend will be free, and he will help me to remove this. My friend helped me to remove the exhaust. Now I can remove the heat shields to get access to the propeller shaft, and by that time, while I am removing them and while there is no support added, I will drain also old oil, because in any case I will need to drain it to get access to the Mechatronics unit, to filters. So while I'm removing it, I will let it drain. So for that job I need to drain oil. I have special drain I showed you in unpacking video. should be some oil going out, so let's don't get too much oil on our gloves. Prepare some paper to clean up the tool. Oil is very clean. Oil is perfect inside, as I filled up this transmission with fresh oil, I don't know, maybe 10,000 kilometers ago when I was fixing the engine. Seems like there will be not a problem with the transmission. Maybe it will be problem with shifting mechanism, or maybe it will be problem with engine software, because this engine has decat version without catalytic converters. I installed here already catalytic converters, but it is not reprogrammed yet. So sometimes this transmission can start to make some punch when engine software is incorrect or damaged or bad tuning or something like that. Well, I will fix transmission, take a look how it's looking inside. If everything will be fine, I will also install original software, and then we will see is it okay. So while it is draining, let's remove the heat shields. Maybe this time I will also order this front part of heat shield, because the previous exhaust system was cutted when it was still assembled on the car. Someone was making some kind of striped exhaust, so there is signs of cutting, and maybe it's better idea to change this first part, because it's not looking very good. Also some heat is going upside, maybe it can cause some harm. So I think I'm gonna change them. It should be also not too very expensive. The rear one also looks like it should be changed, because the ears that are fixing it are already broken. Everything here is still looking nice. It has metal fuel tank. It's interesting because usually they are from plastics, but here it's metal again. Maybe it is only in America, I don't know. I have not looked in the parts catalog to check is there a difference between America and Europe. I need to drain these lines because there will be some additional oil inside, and I don't want to split out on my floor too much. Okay. Now I need to disconnect this part for the job. I need to unclip this part of the shifter and remove that bolt, so the cable will go on the side. Then I need to lift this part up and fix it with stripe in neutral position. Unclipping is easy, just lift this small thing up and remove it, and that's all. Now it's lifted and it is in neutral position, and it can be, the propeller shaft can be turned, and actually we are on the way to remove the transmission support. Support also transmission here, and it will be taken off soon. Now I need to close this drain. I will use hydraulic support because first it will hold now, and after that it will lower the transmission also, so it's better than the usual stand. Now it's secured, I can remove the transmission mount. Don't forget to remove this ground cable, and of course don't forget to connected it back later. Otherwise, when you will try to lower transmission, it can hang somewhere here, and actually it can cause some damage, or the cable can be damaged, or the ground point can be damaged, or it can make a problem when you will lower transmission. It can hang here and it can help to fall down your transmission. So be careful with that moment. Believe me, I have failed with that, so it's not the best experience. I hope that propeller shaft will remove easy, because a year ago I cleaned the seat for the joint and greased it, so I hope so that it will go out easy. Actually, even with inserted grease, it's not going out so easy. So it's written that it should go out using screwdriver, but even with pry bar it's not going out so easy. Yes, now it's out. Now we can lower transmission. It will not go down a lot because the engine will hold it. But there should be enough place to get to the upper bolts. And further to release the cables. Don't forget to unclip these cables, otherwise you can break them, and I usually try to remove also the crankshaft position sensor to prevent damaging it. And now my step is to remove a lot of bolts of Torx 12. The lower ones are easy, the upper bolts are not so easy. You will need to have some extra access to them, and you will need some long extensions for that job. Actually, this is the hardest part of the job, removing these upper bolts. I recommend removing these upper bolts or all bolts of the transmission with hand tool, not using power tools, because you can damage the pikes of the Torx bolts, and if you will damage it, it will be very hard to remove them, or sometimes it is even impossible, and you need to waste a lot of time or even remove the engine with transmission together to get that problem fixed. When they are done, you can use some kind of magnet to take them out, but you will need also magnet to put them back inside. They are not very user-friendly to get them out. Or if you have enough place, you can do it by your hand also. From one side it's really easy, from the second side it also can be done. Not always, but it can be done. And these upper bolts are a little bit different. They are Torx 10 other bolts are torx 12. Lower bolts can be already accessed by short tools, and it will be very easy to remove them. It is already a very easy job. So basically this transmission is one of the easiest for removing. Of course, on the old BMWs also these transmissions are easy to remove. But this transmission is even more easier because there is no even clutch disc that should be centered. There is just flywheel, and it's connected directly to the transmission, and inside in the transmission is already a wet clutch kit, but you don't need to center it now. I think that we will also see some surprises here inside, because I already see a sealant here on the gasket. So there is rubber gasket and there is sealant, so I think it will be something interesting. Someone has been already here inside, but when I was fixing the engine, owner didn't want to open transmission, because at that moment already this job was pretty expensive, the repair of this car. So he told, first let's fix the engine and later we can also fix the transmission if the engine will run fine. So he drove about 10,000 kilometers, decided that it will be the right time. It's the end of the season, so if necessary I can fix this car even half a year if there will be no available parts. So while it will be winter, he can already wait for that. Transmission is released. Now we need to remove it carefully. We need to drive it back a little bit to get out of the flywheel, and yes, it's released. Now we need to carefully lower it to do not damage cable. First, let's remove this protecting cover. It will give us an access to this connector, and we can release it to remove the wiring. Now let's open this cover and take a look on the Mechatronics unit, and we will see what's going on there. Actually, it's looking nice. I don't see a lot of metal here, but in any case it's necessary to take a look deeper. I see that there is a lot of sealant used, actually too much. And there is a lot of sealant also inside the transmission, and looks like that the gasket has been damaged. I want to know what's behind the Mechatronics unit, because there can be some metal parts behind it. I already disconnected the wiring. Now I need to take off. This unit is off. It actually looks very clean. And yes, we see metal parts deeper there on the shifters. I'm going to show you later. Also, I see on the magnetic rings metal parts. So this job was done just in time. Now it should go off. there is not so much metal parts here, but here deeper it's the reading discs. You can see there is a lot of metal parts, and here inside also there is a lot of metal. So the transmission is hanging. It has special device. It is one of the BMW genuine tools. It's designed especially for transmissions. Here it should be fixed to the engine turning stand or engine assembling stand. I don't have that BMW original stand, so I just bought this hanging device because I am fixing transmissions. I need it. So at this moment I will just hang up in the air, and first thing I need to wash everything out, because as I showed you before, there is some metallic parts inside. Washing is pretty easy. It's just a lot of brake cleaner, and basically that's all. Spraying everything, washing out, trying to wash all these dirty parts away. Something is washed away. Now it's time to remove the oil pan. There should be a lot more. The old oil is draining. Actually, there is not so much metal parts. It's normal. Now I need to remove also suction pump. And here comes the oil filter itself. It's not very dirty, but it is made in 2013, so never change it. At this moment I can proceed. First I want to change O-ring for this wiring. It's sometimes leaking. Today this O-ring is not leaking, but it can start to leak in any moment. So this is why it's important to change it. Now it looks nice and clean. It could be the right time to put everything back. So for this I'm having some materials. It's suction pump, front oil pan gasket. Here is installation kit for Mechatronics. It contains from bolts. There is how to tell you, there is a special trafaret to install Mechatronics unit correctly, and Mechatronics gasket. And the last thing is oil filters. Here is included all the extra necessary things. Here is inside high pressure filter. It contains filter. It's GETRAG, original one, of course, because it's original BMW kit. The cap and the ring to fix the cap. Drain plug or filling plug. All the new bolts that are necessary for this job. The new oil filter. It's Filter Tech, but it has logo GETRAG, and there is some rubber on it. And the last thing, it will be an oil pan. the lower one under the transmission that's going. It has new gasket, of course, so everything is included if you are taking original transmission oil changing kit. Okay, let's go, proceed. For the installation job, I put a transmission on engine assembling stand. It's suitable also for transmission assembling. There is special fixture you already have seen, and now we can work like this. We can turn it in a good position for installing everything. First we will install hydraulic filter, oil pan, then I will remove transmission from stand and I will put it on the table, because further service installation procedure for the Mechatronics requires to put transmission on the one side. Also it's easier for installation, otherwise your Mechatronic unit can fall off when you are installing it and you can damage something. Filter is in place. Now it's jet pump. There is gaskets, so I will add some grease. Here's the small bolts. They are included. First, it's the pump. There is no big forces. The pump is only 6 Newton meters. It's M8 millimeter screw, but in any case, it's only 6 Newton meters. The oil pump screw is 8 millimeters and the tightening torque is 6 millimeters. And these two bolts, they are different force. There is different force. This one is 5 Newton meters, this one is 8 Newton meters. Usually on the key you will not even feel the difference, but better do it as it should be done. Here, that's all. Now we need to install oil pan. It will be 10 Newton meters. Oil pan includes also nice clean magnet and also new gasket, so put it on. Take your new bolt kit. For the oil pan there is installation sequence. Maybe it's not so important, but in any case I'm trying to do it in correct way. While tightening with hand it's not important, but final tightening it's important. And these bolts, as I told, are 10 Newton meters. This is done. The next job is high pressure filter change. Here is the high pressure filter. To change this filter, you need to take out the snap ring and to take out this cap. And you can take out the filter. It's gray. It's full with small metallic dust. There's the next part. It's the new filter, the new cap and new snap ring. Do not use some kind of hammers or something like that to put it on. It's you need some lubricant and that's all. It will go inside easy. Put the new snap ring on it and that's all. Just be sure it's everything in place. Yeah, it's seated, that's all. To the next job, I want to remove also front part to check out how the clutch is looking and to change front seal and front o-ring. For that job we will also need some special tools. First remove snap ring. Now how to remove this front cover. There is some hint. Of course everyone has some tools that can be installed here, but here's the 3 holes. For these holes there is one special adapter. It's from BMW. You just try to screw it in. And now you need a reverse hammer. I have original one from BMW. Not always you will change this seal. To be sure that this seal is not damaged, you will need another one adapter. You just put it on and it will be protecting. That's all. Front cover is removed. Behind cover there is an clutch. Now here it starts a little bit more interesting. First you need to catch all the holes for clutch. Now, how to remove this clutch? It should be unscrewed. First you need to remove this protecting sleeve. To remove this clutch you will need a special tool from BMW. Maybe it's also aftermarket solutions, but I'm using original one. There is 4 holes. This tool should go inside fully until it's flush with the basket. If it's not going inside till the end, you need to use some kind of small tool to just adjust until it goes inside till the end. Now you need to be sure that you have installed neutral position. So just turn it. Be sure that's inside. It should fix. And then turn it anti-clockwise. About 8 turns. Now it's 9 turns and it should go off. Now you can check is everything fine. There is 4 rings. They should be not broken. So everything looks very good here. I'll wash it out also. And let it dry for some time. I need some grease on the transmission and we can put it back. Before installing this back, it is absolutely necessary to put on this cover. It will help you to do not damage oil seal. You can put back the cover. There is an arrow, it should be upwards. Check if the oil seal is set correctly. Don't use metal hammer, use only plastics hammer. And remove the protecting cover and check again, everything's fine. Insert back the snap ring. Now we need to put this transmission on the table on the side to install Mechatronics unit. That's on the table. This is the more or less best position for installing. So first I need to put on a new gasket. There is 2 pins to put it in correct position. Now it's necessary to put in the Mechatronics unit, but you need to do it carefully. It's fitted. You should do that job by your hands, no hammers, no nothing from that. Just be very, very careful because this Mechatronics unit also can be damaged very, very easy. And now it's the moment to install electric part. To install everything correctly, there is a new bolt kit. And also there is a special, let's call it plastic box for that job. Actually, it's not a plastic box, it's some kind of guide. You need to put on. There is a sequence, numbers, how you need to install these bolts. Some bolts is necessary to install new ones. As example, 50 millimeters and 30. This one is long one, 75. It's going here. Then a few 50 millimeters long. Check, they are 50. So 50 is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 6 bolts. One is a little bit longer. It's 35 goes here. The 50 millimeters are going here and also here and here. Number 8 and 10. So it's here and here. Now we have remaining 4 screws that are 30 millimeters. These are 30. They are going number 2, number 5, number 4, number 1. They are in place. So actually this is also a tightening sequence. Starting, there is numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 20. So it's important for all type of mechatronics to install the bolts and tighten down them in correct sequence, because this wall mechatronics unit, it only looks very strong. Actually it's pretty weak, and tightening these bolts incorrectly, you can easily damage it. It can be bent, and then it might not work anymore correctly, or it might not work at all. First step is these small bolts from 1 to 12, installed new, tighten down to 2 Newton meters. First I will tighten down them by hand. Actually this 2 newtons force is something you can tighten down by your fingers. Now with dynamometrical key. It's a very small torque, 2 Newton meters. The new bolts are in place. Now it's the second sequence. We need to tighten them down 3 Newton meters and additional degrees. The last important thing you should not forget is put back cable, and don't forget to fix it. And here also is one part, it's necessary to change it. It's included in this mounting kit. It's a cable holder. Last check that everything's good. All contacts are pressed, cable is fixed in its place. It's also fixed here. If it's good, install the cover. Previous, if you remember, this cover was covered with sealant. Now it's new original gasket. These bolts are usual 10 Newton meters. Bolts are tightened. That's all. Maintenance of transmission is ended. It's ready to install it back. Before installing transmission, we need to also change this flywheel. It's damaged. It is making vibrations, also some sounds, and it is not as it should be. First, we need to fix somehow flywheel. For this fixing, I have one special tool. This is device, and it should be fixed here. It is fixing flywheel. Now I need to take out this bolt. There is another tool. It's original, but you can use also usual torques. There is not a big force. It is 100. It was 120 Newton meters. And I can proceed with impact. Everything looks still fine. I'm ready to install a new flywheel. I have new bolts also. There is a pin, and it should be installed in the correct position. Now I will insert these bolts. These bolts are having special glue. It's a 2-component glue here. When you are assembling with these bolts, you insert them, and then you need to screw them in and tighten down about in 5-10 minutes, because it starts to harden, this glue. When you're screwing in, it is damaging, so 2 compounds are mixed and it starts hardening. This is why you need to use every time these bolts. Of course, if you want, you can use also glue for bolt, but I prefer using just new bolts. They're not so expensive to take a risk about that. Again, it's necessary to fix it in that one and correct position. Now I can fix it for tightening down. And these bolts should be tightened down to 120 Newton meters. That's all. Flywheel is in place. It has some rust, I think from the air moisture. It came in box, but maybe it was holded in some not very dry stock, or I don't know, maybe in car's trunk. In any case, this is not a working surface. This is the only working surface, so it just goes inside, and there is no clutch from outside. It's inside, I showed you before, into the transmission. Basically, that's all. Just I need to put back transmission, attach wiring, exhaust, cooling lines, propeller shaft, and then start it, fill oil, and delete adaptations, make teaching in procedure, and that's all. I will show you it a little bit later after I will assemble transmission. Everything is in place, transmission is filled. Soon I will start it up. At this moment I fit battery to charge. While it's going on, I will install both heat guards and exhaust system. Both heat guards, if you remember, was cutted, they were damaged, so I got a new, it's from rear side, I got new ones. They are actually not expensive, and they are going without connecting elements. There should be 2 plastic inserts. I have them new. The second part, it should go like this. Now it will look nice and smooth, like it should be. Now the thermal guards are in place. The car is running fine, it's working. I moved it a little bit away from the lift, and now I connected my ICOM. Now I need to also install some protecting cover. I have connected power supply device, also ignition is on, and let's start ISTA. It takes some time to read the car, it's normal. Here we see that there is a lot of faults. It was because the battery was disconnected and also because transmission was removed. So first thing I need to delete them. And it's finally ready to delete the faults. Mostly there should be unknown, or status should be unknown or no, because yes, there is only under voltage and no signal faults. So I will delete them first, and then we can proceed to adaptation of transmission after work. This will be the last step, and then a test drive. So there is 3 faults remaining. It is about air quality sensor and something with CAFAS camera. So this is nothing disturbing to do my job with transmission. The parking lock, it was working. Teach in clutch adaptation, let's do it first. Start engine. Let's fire it up. Let's activate the brake. Press and hold brake. Selector in neutral. Now it's neutral. It was not switched in neutral position. So in this procedure, the control unit will teach the clutch. So it is absolutely necessary for smooth starting and smooth shifting. All these adaptations, teach-in procedures should be done every time you are doing something with your transmission. If you are rebuilding it or changing the clutch or changing the flywheel or even changing the oil. About changing oil, I'm not sure that it should be done, but it is recommended every time you are doing something with your transmission. Just do these procedures. It is not taking a lot of time. Believe me, it will be better. This teaching-in procedure is taking about 150 seconds, so it's a little bit less than 3 minutes. So clutch is teached. Okay, teaching valve characteristics. Again, start the engine. And this time it asks also to hold 2500 RPM. So basically that's all. I did all the necessary functions: clutch adaptation, learning of valve characteristics curve, reset torque characteristic, and transmission adaptation, and that's all. This car is ready to go, so I'm going to a test drive and everything is done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.